So this past winter, with all the snow starting to come down and people getting ready for the long nights and short days, I was surprisingly looking forward to it. Because for me, as I've learned in past years, one of the few ways to combat that winter gloom is to create your own little traditions at home. Something you can look forward to that's associated with winter, other than the obvious holidays that just happen near the end of December alone. Some people go snowboarding or tubing, others go out skating, but for me, it means I get to stay home with a cup of hot chocolate, a box of After Eight, and vibe by myself, playing a few video games indoors while the snow gently falls outside. My personal tradition this year was to play video games that had something to do with winter. I wanted anything with a snowy, dark, isolated vibe. I even made a collection on Steam and pre-installed about 5 of them, but then, as anyone with a large Steam library knows, I was hit with choice paralysis. I couldn't pick any of them. Oddly enough, amongst the paralysis, the only game that really called out to me in that moment was Halo 3 ODST of all games. I remember having such strong feelings about that game. It was a sequel to Halo 3, so how could I not get it? I pre-ordered the special edition with the controller, and remember feeling so excited to play it. The day it launched, I carved the release date into my desk at school right before the bell rang to go home. You gotta understand, the hype for Halo games was intense during its golden age. That ODST trailer using that epic song sung in what I now know as Welsh, combined with intense army training visuals, had me hyped as hell alone. For context, I was a teenager who grew up on the Xbox 360. Modern Warfare 2, Gears of War 3, Halo 3, those were my jam. My PC still has a Gears 3 sticker I got with the game on it to this day. So yeah, another thought entered my mind while I was debating playing ODST instead of any of those winter-themed games in my collection. I thought it'd be best to just give in to the urge to play an old game I was already comfortable with, since the point of my tradition was to have a cozy vibe in the first place, not really to feel guilty leaving my Steam backlog untouched again. So screw it, I said. I gave in to the nostalgic urge. But even though I played it back then, I realized I also never really collected or got into the audio logs scattered throughout the campaign in the game. If you don't know, there's this thing in ODST where the city's AI directs you to these little Easter eggs, audio logs that let you know what was going on the day of the Covenant invasion. It's supposed to be this in-between story you can listen to while walking between missions, and it had been a long time since I listened to them, and to tell you the truth, I can still remember not really caring about them back then, and focused more on beating the game or playing with friends, but more on that later. I mainly just remembered people praising the mood and the music, so I thought, you know what, this is a dark, isolated, but atmospheric kind of game, and that's exactly what I wanted out of my winter gaming tradition, so dropping into New Mombasa I went. I find I personally end up doing this thing almost every winter where I want to play a game alone and beat it on the hardest difficulty, and it's strange because I'm not someone who actively looks for a hard challenge in my games. I remember a few years ago, I really wanted to beat Gears of War 1 on insane difficulty, and I did that. Looking back, I realized that around wintertime, I just want to go through a giant struggle alone and come out on top. I don't know why that's a theme for me when winter should be a time to feel cozy and relaxed, but subconsciously, I think I see it as myself overcoming something, whether literally or figuratively in my life. Winter is a harsh season, so it's almost fitting I have this virtual need to overcome it in my own time and in some way. So, I played ODST on Legendary. I was taking in the fact that I was alone, and the atmosphere, to no surprise, delivered on that somber, melancholy feeling the game portrays. I eventually ended up beating it, and then went back on easy mode just to collect the audio logs I had missed this time around and had all ignored as a kid. When you're a teenager, you care less about the story and more about beating the campaign to tell your friends you did it, and then just to jump into multiplayer with them. But as an adult, after beating the game on a challenging difficulty, listening to those logs while wandering the evacuated, abandoned streets, I realized this is how the game should have been played. In ODST, the point is that you're not the Master Chief anymore. You're weak, you're alone, and you're dropped into the middle of hell. To come out of that on the hardest difficulty, that's kind of the point of the game. You're not a super soldier. You're a human being working to be the best. As a kid, though, it was all about the Master Chief. The other soldiers were just NPCs or cannon fodder to you. But this game makes you reorient yourself. You realize, wait a minute, I am vulnerable, but I can still be powerful if I work hard and play smart. On Legendary, you have to pay attention. You have to think about your weapons and explore the maps, and it makes you so much more invested and immersed in the game. You'll be fighting through a hard mission, come out the other end, and then the music kicks in, while you look out at the landscape and just think, wow, that's actually kind of beautiful. And it lands harder when you've earned it, almost like a reward for surviving another near-death encounter to witness a demolished beauty amongst a devastated city. Reflecting on all this made me realize how much my identity with gaming has changed. Back then, I didn't want to play on Legendary because it was too hard. I didn't understand why I'd voluntarily spend a bunch of my time putting myself through frustrating challenges when games were supposed to be a fun pastime to turn your brain off to. I still get flashbacks of trying to 100% Crash Bandicoot The Wrath of Cortex as an 8-year-old, only to rage out loud at the TV about how Coco can't jump properly and it's completely not my fault, and yada yada, child screaming at TV. Back in my teenage years, I only did hard things for achievements to prove myself socially. It was basically about the social hierarchy. I wanted to be good at SWAT to prove to my friends I was better than them at aiming at their heads and had true gamer skill, the most important skill amongst teenage boys. Let's be real, folks. Come on now. In fact, ranked play actually scared me as a kid. I hated the feeling of being the last one alive in Search and Destroy in Modern Warfare 2 and having guys from high school watch me as my heart rate went up being the last alive in a 1v1. I was afraid they'd make fun of me the next day if I choked, so I stayed away from the feeling of hard because hard felt bad. I was there to turn off my brain and feel good about myself, not to be tested or judged in my free time after school. It's crazy that now, as an adult, I actually now look for those challenges. When you're older, you get sick of being in the same place. After ending up in the same habits and gaming cycles for so long, you want something to change. You want to feel like you're growing, and external validation is a never-ending pit that can't compare to the fulfillment in accomplishing something truly for yourself when no one else is around or watching. What's funny is as of writing this, I'm actually starting my very own family very soon. Actually, scratch that. The kid got here while I was trying to make this video. So thinking of things outside oneself has become my new normal very quickly. A whole new layer of fulfillment I get not only now from overcoming my own personal challenges, but now simultaneously overcoming the ones that come with caring for someone else outside myself. So having someone depend on you, you definitely want to be the person who can overcome the hard stuff and does it with ease. To not only be a good role model, but to be the kind of person who already does hard things. So being that person, you're ready for the unknown ones that inevitably pop up around every corner along that way anyway. After I finished ODST, I then booted up and played Halo Reach on Legendary. Which was an even better experience because you were playing a strong Spartan this time, but you're still part of a team, still understanding you can't run into everything alone, and you have to think before you act. It's not a lone wolf fantasy, it's about duty, something outside oneself. To be honest, it was definitely harder than ODST, but again, made me realize that this is also how Reach should have been played. All the same reasons for ODST on Legendary, but keeping in mind this was Bungie's swan song Halo game, and really feeling the polish they put into the Legendary experience with all the theatrics attached to it made it feel like the Halo game everyone should play on Legendary. The planet and your team are slowly dying. It and many will not survive. So the constant journey to still try and find a way to survive a doomed campaign can be felt tenfold, as the metaphorical ship you're trying to save is constantly sinking as you try to push back the Covenant invasion, over and over and over again, only to die doing what you were meant to do from the beginning, your duty to look outside yourself and to do everything you can to save and protect those who need someone that can, or at least will try. I don't want this video to be about how everyone who doesn't play games alone on a hard difficulty aren't playing video games right. That's not the point at all. I'm definitely not a Dark Souls guy, for example, and my urge to play those games still doesn't even necessarily sway me to jump into those right away, even after all this experience. Looking back, I'm actually very glad as a teen, and times as a kid, I just did what was fun to me. Because as you grow older, you might forget to listen to that gut feeling you get when you want to just play something you feel like or want to, without feeling guilty you should be playing or doing something else, especially if you're a content creator, as that's kind of tenfold with the whole monetization aspect to it all. To not do things optimally is the optimal path in life, because following what calls to you in the moment in your free time is how you truly feel free. Because nowadays, where anything can be searched up to be done the absolute perfect way takes all the fun out of doing and figuring things out for yourself. Honestly, my teenage brain probably wouldn't even appreciate these games on Legendary if I wasn't in the right headspace for it like I am now for it anyways. And that's kind of the point. I'd only recommend leaving your gaming comfort zone if you find yourself in your regular, familiar gaming cycles and catch yourself wanting something more on your own. Looking at the four walls around you and going, I don't want to look at this room anymore. Another way to look at what I've shared today is to maybe, if you're like me, hitting your 30s soon, look at those games from your past and maybe try playing something you loved in a different way, just as I did with Halo. Whether it's 100%ing a game, trying those harder difficulties, or better yet, now with the crazy advancements and communities there are online now, play a mod for your favorite games. Some people even make entire campaigns that others will vouch for, and them feeling like true, high-quality expansions for something made 20 plus years ago, as if the developers kept making new content for their old projects. Just to give some examples, there's Kirko Mods, who makes so many great campaigns for Banjo-Kazooie, Super Mario Eclipse, and just recently, a group just ported over Jak and Daxter The Precursor Legacy, the first game in the series, and there's already speedruns for a crossover they made for it, where you play as Gordon Freeman from Half-Life, playing the game in first person, and it's all completely functional. There's so much out there on the internet nowadays, so I'm sure you can find some new flavor to add on to your old favorites if you just look hard enough. Back to the Halo stuff. I'm currently halfway through Halo Combat Evolved on Legendary, and that's an experience in itself I'd love to talk about, maybe in a future video, since I never played it on any difficulty before actually. Being a kid whose first full Halo experience was Halo 3 and onward until Halo 4, I can easily see the campaign map design and philosophy differences, and that's a really cool experience for the first time too. And yes, I'm aware Halo 1 on Legendary is tougher, and Halo 2 is completely unbalanced, so I might actually skip Halo 2's campaign on Legendary just because I'm not a sadist.
Today I'm going to play the level Grave Mine from Halo 2 on Legendary difficulty, but with a catch. If I die, the video ends. Let's go.
Brutes!
Yeah, not gonna kill myself over that. Anyways, I've stopped playing it due to not just the little one now being in the picture, but just like I followed my gut in playing ODST on Legendary in the first place, I simply wanted a break. I can see myself returning to continue Halo 1, trying Halo 2 until I decide I've taken enough rakes to the face. Then fully finishing Halo 3 on Legendary, as that's kind of my true Halo, so I kind of have to finish it on Legendary as an adult someday soon. But for now, the point is this. Playing these games on Legendary showed me that my identity has changed. I've grown, literally and figuratively. And it's a pretty cool thing to know, that the games you loved long ago can be experienced for the first time all over again with just the right kind of revisit.
This is the way the world ends.
Thank you for watching, everyone. If this video has resonated with you on any level, I'd love to hear your stories about how gaming has changed for you over the years. It's honestly my favorite part about making these videos in the first place, because it gives others a space and chance to share their stories without making a whole video essay about it. So feel free to write away in the comments. I'll probably read every single one. And that's about it. So thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like to let me know this was good. Subscribe if you want to see more. And that's it. Thank you, and see you guys next time. Cheers.